Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. And it's something that affected my family, most specifically my father. And that's the subject of elder abuse, which is a very, very difficult subject to speak of. Yet it's very important, I feel, to bring to light because it's something that we all may be vulnerable to at some point in our lives. And we might see people we care about getting weaker and more vulnerable to tricksters and fraudulent activities. And I don't know if I want to talk so much specifically about what happened to my family, as I want to highlight some heroes, people I believe are heroes in this elder abuse awareness movement. And there's three individuals in particular that I want to speak about today. So this first situation is actually a documentary, and a friend of mine from high school who also was a student of my dad's. My dad was a physics and calculus teacher. He knows, this friend of mine, he knows what happened within my family. And he sent me this video. It's called The Guardians. And I believe it was made around 2017 and it was released in 2018. But my friend saw it circulating on social media and he sent it to me. And it's heartbreaking. It's terrible what you're going to see. I'm going to play the trailer. But it's so important that we become aware of this kind of elder abuse, which is different than what happened within my family. I'll play the trailer, but it's more what happened within my family was with people that my dad completely trusted and knew very well. And I trusted them as well. But in The Guardians documentary, it's this whole crime syndicate. It's this group of people who are bullying elderly people into giving over their life and their life savings. It's really horrific, but I'm so happy that it's being exposed. So I'd like to share my screen and share the trailer for The Guardians with you, the audience. Let's see if I could do slideshow mode. So here's the poster for The Guardians. And here's the trailer.
If you are considering retiring here and you're an elderly, wealthy person, think twice.
I spoke to my mom on Thursday and she was fine. I called her on Friday and there was nobody picking up. Somebody took my parents.
It's not supposed to happen in America.
I was fighting them back and he was fighting me.
They grabbed me and they kept telling me, you'll love it there.
I asked them where I was. You're on the 6th floor in the psych ward.
People go in, corpses come out.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and appoint your guardian today.
A guardian is appointed through the courts to have authority over someone's life.
You turn over immediately your bank account, checking account, savings account.
They're using senior citizens as the key to the money.
We have nothing left. There are relationships between the doctors, the lawyers, the private guardian industry, and the court.
My aunt was victimized based on an incorrect diagnosis by an unqualified person.
They were trying to convince us nothing to see here. And that raises red flags for any investigative journalist.
We've got to keep the light shining on the people that are being taken.
I cannot do this. I cannot let these people get away with everything.
It needs a master investigation.
Okay. It's pretty heavy for me to see, probably anybody to see, but it's really, really interesting. And I'm really happy that it's been brought out to the public in this documentary. And it's just this crazy crime syndicate. And it involves physicians, it involves judges and lawyers. And it takes place in the state of Nevada, and specifically in the same county at the Clark County, I believe it's called, where Las Vegas is. And it's this whole system These people were making money off these senior citizens and just bullying them into doing these awful things. I highly recommend seeing it. I'll put the link in the description for this video. It's free. It's free. It's on YouTube, and it raises a lot of questions for me. It's very interesting, and it's a different kind of abuse than what my dad endured. So I have tremendous respect for the filmmaker and his production team for bringing it to light. And I highly recommend it as something to watch. It's very interesting. It's a true crime story. And I give it two thumbs up. There you have it. All right. From working for 3 years with kids on Zoom, I like to use our little reactions there. Another hero, in my opinion, for this elder abuse awareness movement is Carrie Kasem. Carrie Kasem is the daughter of Casey Kasem, prolific American icon, DJ, voice actor, somebody I grew up listening to. And her situation with her father was very similar to what I went through, actually. Her father was abused by his wife, who was her stepmother. And her story, it's very similar. And there's some awful things that happened even after Casey Kasem passed away. And to me, Carrie Kasem is such a hero for speaking about what happened to her dad. She has such a reach with her well-known name, and she herself is somebody in the entertainment industry as well, and has made a name for herself. And I remember hearing about what was going on with Casey Kasem when I was in the midst of starting to unravel what was going on with my dad. And so I want to highlight her as well as someone who's a hero for elder abuse awareness. And you'll hear a little bit about what she's done as far as legislature in this short interview. And there's also someone else in this interview who I want to talk about as well. So this is Carrie Kasem.
You know, what you went through, your father, the elder abuse. I mean, I don't know how much headway you're making with that, or if that's...
You know, I changed the law in 22 states. So 12 states personally, and then 9 other states adopted a version of my visitation bill for people who can't see their parents when they're over 18. So people don't realize that once you turn 18, you have no rights to see your parents in this country. My bill helps a little bit. I've tried to go federally, but it's been, you know, there's so many bills, especially when Britney Spears, what happened to Britney Spears. And the bills, you know, I testify, I help out, but the last few years, especially with COVID, it's been a bit hard.
I think like you went through all the agencies first, the elder abuse, and they always side with with the person who's doing it first.
It happens all the time, unfortunately. When you find somebody who is isolating the rest of the group, that's the abuser.
Right.
That's the person, you know, and unfortunately, you'll have some good guardians, some good conservators, they're not all bad, right? And sometimes they're telling the truth. But when you've isolated all of the family members and the people who they love most and the people they spend time with most, you're looking at the abuser. Yeah.
Have you come to peace with anything?
I have, which is I've come to peace with everything. You know, I even have empathy for the woman who abused him and us. I have an empathy, because who would want to live like that, you know? No love, feeling like everybody's against you, and it's interesting. I have found a complete peace with it, and I still help people, and I still want to help, but I've moved on a lot from like speaking about it, constantly talking about it, you know? But I do like to, like, especially with this, when you have an audience and you can really get it out there, then I'm okay with that. But I was doing a lot of like personal phone calls and like hours on the phone, and it's like draining, and it's awful, and I feel so bad. But I have a team of people now that help, so it's better. It's definitely better. But yeah, this is a huge epidemic. This is Angelique Fawcette went through it with Nichelle Nichols. She was her second mom, and that's how we know each other. So please help me save Nichelle.
Wow.
We're doing a film together. She's an incredible producer, amazing actress and singer, and we got together unfortunately because of the guardianship situation. And she was really helping Nichelle Nichols. Of course, me with my father, Casey Kasem, and that's why we're here.
And she is an amazing producer. She gives me too much credit. She's been amazing to women. She's She's very supportive, and I'm lucky to have her as a friend, you know, and, you know, with especially like this event is really wonderful because you're supporting, again, you're supporting women and all of our work and all of the women who are not just in front of the camera, who are also behind the camera and actually writing and producing and UPMing and picking up trash and cleaning the toilets, all the things that people don't know that we actually do if we own our own companies and are working to make media that is effective and informative for women.
I love this event. It's my favorite award show of all the award shows I go to because we feel so supported, whether it's TV, movies, podcasts, or
So this woman here,
I talk,
You know, what you went through.
hold on. Okay, hold on. Got a little verklempt there. The woman she was speaking to, or speaking with, Angelique Fawcette. I don't know as much about this situation as the Carrie Kasem situation, because also, if you're interested, it's another true crime story. She did do a podcast, and I believe it's on Audible, audiobook, but it's in installments. It's called Bitter Blood, and it has to do with the Casey Kasem, the battle to protect him from further elder abuse. And I highly recommend it. It goes more into detail. She rallied the family together. I believe Casey Kasem's brother got involved, and just all these people came together. And that was similar with what happened within my family. I had cousins and aunts and uncles and friends of mine and friends of my dad's, and a lot of people came together. So my story is very similar to what happened within her family. But this is Angelique Fawcette and Nichelle Nichols. And I don't know as much about this situation, but I believe that this Angelique Fawcette became the conservator for Nichelle Nichols, and they were friends because Angelique Fawcette produced a Star Trek parody. If you guys don't know, you should know, this is Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek. And they became friends. And I don't know the whole story, but I know that this woman, Angelique Fawcette, stood up to be a conservator because she suspected that there was some sort of exploitation of Nichelle Nichols as well. And just an interesting thing, in the state of California, it's called a conservator, but that movie, The Guardians, took place in Nevada, and they call it a guardian. And I think they're pretty much the same. It's just here in the state of California, they're called conservators. And in the state of Nevada, they're called guardians. And so I don't know as much about this story, but I just think it's just an interesting trivia. My dad was such a Trekkie, and it's just interesting that he would have something in common with Nichelle Nichols. It's not funny, but for some reason, I think it is kind of interesting. But I just wanted to highlight these people as people who are, you know, putting themselves out there and making this known to the public. And they are people who may have a bigger reach than me. And so I would highly recommend watching that documentary, The Guardians, listening to the Casey Kasem story. This is what the podcast looks like. Bitter Blood, Kasem versus Kasem. Pardon me, Kasem versus Kasem. That's correct. So it's very, very interesting, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So with that, I will leave in the description links to, information about the Guardians documentary, and also about Carrie Kasem, and also, maybe the link to this silly Star Trek parody that they did. But I appreciate you tuning in for this short podcast, and let's do our best to fight for our families and protect our tribe, have their back, be in their corner, and have a great day. And that's it. So here's a picture of me and my dad in 2017, around this time of year, 6 years ago. Thank you for tuning in, and let's take care of our families.